Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
The campus of Brown University was usually a calm place. It was a day for final exams, so many students were busy. Inside the Barris and Hawley Engineering Building, a student named Alex sat at a desk. His pen scratched softly on his exam paper. He was focused on his studies, thinking about complex ideas. The quiet in the room was deep, a place for learning and thought. Then a loud noise ripped through the silence. Crack! It was the sharp sound of a gunshot. Alex froze. Fear quickly spread. Another shot followed, closer this time. People screamed. Glass shattered somewhere nearby, a terrible sound. More shots came, one after another, like a drum in the distance. The careful peace was gone. Panic filled the air. This place of books and knowledge had become a place of brutal noise and fear. It was 4:10 in the afternoon. Nobody knew exactly what was happening. Was there one person with a gun? Where were they in the big building? Reports were confusing. The attacker's location was unclear. Students wondered who was doing this and where they would go next. The usual quiet of study halls was replaced by terror. Alex quickly moved. He pulled his chair back and dropped to the floor. Other students in the room followed, scrambling for safety. They hid under desks, trying to make themselves small. Their breathing was fast and shallow. They stayed quiet, listening to the sounds of chaos outside the door. Then the noise changed. Heavy footsteps came closer.
They were slow, deliberate. They stopped right outside their classroom door. 2. A message of fear. The quiet was broken again. This time, it was not a gunshot, but a loud, strong sound from the emergency alert system. A clear voice spoke. Run, hide, fight. This was the university's plan for what to do in such a dangerous time. Everyone needed to listen and act fast. In a small lab, Professor Davies acted quickly. He grabbed a heavy table and pushed it against the door. His students helped, moving chairs and equipment to make a strong wall. They wanted to keep the shooter out. In a dark lecture hall, a group of students huddled together. They turned off their phones and made sure they were silent. They held their breath, listening for any sound. Each second felt very long, full of fear. Outside, the police response began. Many police cars arrived at the university. Officers from Providence Police and other teams started to move carefully around the Barris and Hawley building. They worked slowly, searching each floor and room. They tried to make the area safe for everyone inside. The tension grew as time passed, making students feel like they were part of a very real and scary game. The heavy footsteps that students heard just a moment ago were heard again. But this time they rushed past, not stopping. It was other students, running to find a safe place. This brought a small feeling of relief. For a short time, those hiding felt a flicker of hope.
They thought maybe the danger was over. But then a phone buzzed. A new message flashed across the screen. It was another alert from the university. This message confirmed that some people had died. 2 members of the Brown community were gone, and 8 others were hurt. Students now knew people had lost their lives, but the alert did not say who, and they still did not know if the danger had truly passed. 3. The city holds its breath. The sounds of the shooting quickly moved beyond just the university building. Now the entire city of Providence felt a deep fear. A massive number of police and other law enforcement officers came. Providence police, state troopers, and federal agents all rushed to the campus. Important groups like the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, joined them. Many cars with flashing lights and loud sirens filled the streets around Brown University. Mayor Brett Smiley of Providence soon made an important announcement. He gave a citywide order for everyone to shelter in place. This meant people had to stay inside their homes and buildings. They could not go out. This order turned the usually lively college town into a silent, empty place, like a ghost town. Roads were empty. Shops and restaurants that were usually full of students and locals closed their doors early. Residents stayed behind their locked doors and windows.
They listened carefully to the unending sounds of sirens. Police cars, fire engines, and ambulances raced through the city. These loud, urgent noises showed everyone how serious the danger was. People felt scared and worried, not knowing what was happening outside. The quick and large response from all the police showed the crisis was very big and important. Then, a new alert appeared on university phones and screens. It brought a sudden moment of hope. The message said that a suspect had been caught and taken into custody. A wave of relief, soft but clear, moved through the campus and the tense city. Many people thought, for a brief time, that the threat was now over. However, this hopeful feeling quickly changed. Only a few minutes later, a police officer on the ground spoke to a news reporter. He gave very different information. The officer clearly stated that no suspect was in custody. This caused great confusion. The official university alert and the police officer's words did not match. People did not know who to trust or what to believe. Was the person responsible for the violence truly caught, or were they still somewhere in the city? Providence, once again, held its breath, filled with uncertainty and renewed fear. 4. The Man in Black. The brief relief that had washed over the city just moments before quickly vanished. A new emergency alert flashed across phones and screens. The message was clear, but terrifying. No suspect was in custody.
The previous report had been a mistake. The shooter was still out there, free, somewhere in Providence. The danger had not ended. Law enforcement had very little information about the person they were looking for. The only description was a male figure dressed completely in black. Witnesses had seen him exit the Barris and Hawley Engineering Building from the side on Hope Street. After that, he simply disappeared. Police searched every corner, but the man in black seemed to vanish into the busy city streets. They had no idea where he had gone. This lack of clear information led to widespread confusion. Even important people shared wrong news. President Donald Trump first posted on Truth Social saying a suspect had been caught. He was using the university's initial incorrect alert, but later he had to post again, correcting his first message. He wrote that Brown University police had reversed their statement and no one was in custody. This quickly spreading false report showed how difficult it was to get accurate news during such a chaotic event. Police did stop one person who looked like the description. They took him in for questioning, but soon they realized he was not the shooter. It was a sad case of mistaken identity, adding to the city's fear. A major mystery for everyone was how the gunman managed to get into the secure university building. It was final exams week, a very important time, with hundreds of students and faculty moving around.
The campus was supposed to be safe. Was the shooter a student from Brown University, or was he someone from outside? Did he walk in without anyone noticing, blending with the crowd, or did he find an entrance that was not locked? Police investigators did not have these important answers.
The security of the campus seemed to have failed. For the police and for everyone living in Providence, a chilling truth became clear. The killer was not just a person they needed to find. He was like a ghost. He had slipped away, even with the largest police search the city had ever seen. The man in black had disappeared, leaving behind only fear and many unanswered questions. 5. The names of the lost. Brown University President Christina Paxson spoke to the community. Her voice was full of deep sadness. She said there were no words for the sorrow everyone felt. The university was hurting for all the victims of the shooting. This tragic event had happened in the Barris and Holly Engineering Building. Her message made the campus feel quiet and heavy. The frantic search and fear from before now gave way to grief. 2 people had died in the attack. They were both important members of the Brown family. One was a talented student. The other was a respected faculty member. Their names were not yet made public. This was a normal step, as officials needed to tell their families first. But this delay meant the whole campus waited, wondering.
Everyone felt a deep collective anxiety, not knowing who exactly had been lost. At Rhode Island Hospital, 8 other people were fighting hard for their lives. They had all been shot. Hospital staff worked quickly to help them. A spokesperson said that 6 victims were in serious but stable condition. 1 person was in a very serious, critical condition. Another victim was stable. Doctors hoped they would all get better, but their journey to recovery would be long and difficult. Each person faced an uncertain future. The quick pace of the earlier hours was now gone. A sad quiet filled the air instead. This chapter felt very different from the rush of sirens and alerts. People on campus felt the true weight of the tragedy. They thought about the families of the dead and the wounded. The pain. Everyone felt a deep collective anxiety, not knowing who exactly had been lost. At Rhode Island Hospital, 8 other people were fighting hard for their lives. They had all been shot. Hospital staff worked quickly to help them. A spokesperson said that 6 victims were in serious but stable condition. 1 person was in a very serious, critical condition. Another victim was stable. Doctors hoped they would all get better, but their journey to recovery would be long and difficult. Each person faced an uncertain future. The quick pace of the earlier hours was now gone. A sad quiet filled the air instead. This chapter felt very different from the rush of sirens and alerts. People on campus felt the true weight of the tragedy. They thought about the families of the dead and the wounded. The pain of what happened settled deep in their hearts. Even though official names were not out, rumors began to spread across campus. Students and staff whispered to each other. Unconfirmed reports moved from person to person. One name came up again and again. It was a brilliant engineering student. This student was known for working on an important, groundbreaking project. Many people heard this name and felt a cold fear. They wondered if this bright young mind was truly among the lost. The campus held its breath, waiting for the truth. 6. A search in the dark. The search for the shooter grew very big and serious. Many police groups worked together to find him.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, or ATF, joined the Providence Police and state troopers. They formed a special task force. Their goal was clear: find the man in black who caused so much harm. Officers went into the neighborhoods around Brown University. They did door-to-door searches, knocking on every door. They looked inside parked cars on the dark streets. Everyone they spoke to felt the tension in the air. Police asked many questions. The city of Providence was quiet and worried. Residents stayed inside their homes with locked doors. Shops and restaurants closed early, adding to the strange silence. During this intense search, police stopped one person. They thought he might be the shooter, as he fit some general details. But after questioning, they learned he had nothing to do with the shooting. He was a normal citizen caught by mistake. This showed how hard the search was, with only a limited description of the suspect. Investigators worked without rest. They carefully reviewed videos from many surveillance cameras near the university. They hoped to see the shooter leaving the area, to get a better image or a direction. Near where the shooter left the Burris and Holly building, police found something important. It was a small, plain object on the ground. It looked like nothing special, but police believed this simple item could be a vital clue.
They saved it carefully, hoping it would help them later. Hours passed. Night became early morning. Still, no one found the shooter. The man in black seemed to vanish like a ghost. But then, far from the campus, a young FBI analyst watched traffic camera videos. He watched for a long time, looking for anything unusual. Suddenly, he saw something important. Minutes after the shooting, a dark figure got onto a city bus. Could this be the ghost they were looking for, finally seen? The search now had a new, hopeful direction. 7. They saved it carefully, hoping it would help them later. Hours passed. Night became early morning. Still, no one found the shooter. The man in black seemed to vanish like a ghost. But then, far from the campus, a young FBI analyst watched traffic camera videos. He watched for a long time, looking for anything unusual. Suddenly, he saw something important. Minutes after the shooting, a dark figure got onto a city bus. Could this be the ghost they were looking for, finally seen? The search now had a new, hopeful direction. 7. A familiar story. The tragic events at Brown University were, in many ways, a familiar story in the United States. Across the country, schools and colleges have faced similar moments of fear and violence. Earlier in 2025, Florida State University also saw a mass shooting. On April 17th, a 20-year-old student shot people on campus. 2 people died and 7 others were hurt. Police caught that shooter in just over 3 minutes. 2025 was a year with many gun incidents at educational places. Reports showed more than 70 times guns were fired at schools. 41 of these happened on college campuses. These numbers were part of a larger problem in America. By the end of September 2025, over 11,000 people had died from shootings in the United States. Another 20,000 were injured.
Mass shootings, which means 4 or more people were shot, happened 325 times. These events led to 309 deaths and nearly 1,500 injuries. While these numbers were lower than in recent years, they still showed a serious ongoing issue for the nation. Universities like Brown face a difficult choice. They want to be open places where students and teachers can learn and move freely. This is important for academic life. But they also need to keep everyone safe. It is hard to check every person entering a building, especially when many people are moving around, like during final exams. No set of rules can stop every person who wants to cause harm. Finding the right balance between open access and strong security is a challenge for all colleges in America. The why of the Brown University shooting, then, was not just about one person's actions. It was a reflection of this bigger, sad story about gun violence that affects many communities in the country. This pattern of violence was sadly familiar. However, Law enforcement believed the small item the shooter dropped pointed to a reason for this particular campus shooting, unlike any they had seen before. 8. The echo of gunshots. The terrible day at Brown University left a deep mark. The school and its students were changed forever. It was not just about the damage to buildings or the fear that day. It was about how people felt and how their lives moved forward.
Studies show that events like this can hurt students for a long time. For example, some students might miss more school. They might find it harder to finish their studies or go to college. Some research shows that students who were in such situations might earn less money later in life. This shows that the shooting at Brown affected more than just that one afternoon. It could change the path of many young lives. Brown University now had a new story, a sad one. It was no longer just a place for learning. It was also a place where a tragedy happened. The university had to help students feel safe again and deal with their feelings. They offered support, but the pain stayed. The search for the person who fired the shots continued. The shooter was still not found, like a ghost. Police worked hard to find clues. The video from the city bus was very important. It showed a dark figure, and officers believed this person could be the one they were looking for. The police were getting closer to finding answers. However, the community understood that even when the shooter was caught, the memory would not fade. The sound of the gunshots seemed to echo in the minds of many. It was a constant reminder of what happened in the quiet halls. The community carried these invisible scars. They knew that some things, once broken, can never be fully repaired. The university and its people learned that day that some echoes last forever, even when the noise has stopped.
What do you think is the biggest challenge for a community after an event like this?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world.